What's up, y'all? What's good? Welcome to the What Up Though Show. It's your boy Dame D,
And your boy E Skeezy.
and we today we're joined by guest. I'll go ahead and let him introduce himself to the show today.
It's Big Day, real talk with Big Day.
What's up? What's up, Dave? Welcome to the show again. I wanted to do a part two to this show. We're going to be talking about the incident that happened in Marcy, New York, with the New York correctional officers. I wanted to weigh in a little bit more on this. I didn't think that we talked enough about it more. E Skeezy wasn't able to join us, but he's able to join us now. E Skeezy, you saw the video. You saw what happened. Give us your input on what you thought. Just give us your input on the video. You saw the beating and the murder.
Well, I would love to know what this man was even in jail for. I know it's more than meets the eye, but they treated him as if he uh did something to another prison guard or something. Like he shanked him. But how they handled him, what they did was totally unnecessary, uncalled for. It's a way to handle whatever his crime was or whatever he did, but nobody deserved to be treated like that. They treated him worse than an animal, a wild animal. And he was contained. He didn't look to be a threat to nobody at the time. And they was looking like they was acting out of anger. They were in their feelings. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% in everything that you were saying. He was not a threat. He was detained. They even secured her and secured him down and chained him down to the actual the hospital bedroom that he was in.
Right.
So not at all at one point was he a threat. So I want to bring you guys on again and talk about this. Big Dave, you saw the video, you heard what's going on. Give me a little bit more input, because this was some fucked up shit. There's more that needs to be happening to these officers. They since we did our first video, they've been fired. So that's kind of sort of telling us what's getting ready to go on. The police, the corrections officers has already been released them of their duties at the prison. So give me what you think about that situation. What is that telling you that they've already been fired?
Well, they've been fired because they don't want to outroar.
Right.
Because this right here, uproar, I mean, this right here, they can't hide. See, the video is starting to bring a lot of this stuff to the light that's been going on. So if they got him in an infirmary, I don't care what he might have did and what crime he might have committed. It doesn't deserve this kind of punishment for officers of the law that's supposed to protect and serve. So basically, they was doing what they want to do, and it's like they had a conversation before they went in there and did what they did to him because they had the cameras on standby and the audio off.
Exactly.
So apparently, they was discussing what they were going to do to him before they even got in there and did what they did, and they just went real hard with it. I mean, they kicking him in his groin, they choking him, they pulling him by the collar over and over, kicking him in the stomach over and over. I mean, what kind of abuse is this?
Yeah, it was horrible, man. And you even elaborated on it just a second ago, and I'm gonna elaborate a little bit more on that. They was kicking him all in the genitals, in the nuts, the dick, shit like that. The officer was hitting him so bad with the gloves that he had on. When he pulled off his gloves, he had blood all over his shit. He had to change his gloves and put more other plastic gloves on up under his regular gloves. So they was beating the fuck up out of this man, and he was handcuffed. You know what I mean? And it was 14 officers that was involved that was fired, over this incident. So I'll allow you to elaborate a little bit more on that, Dave. Shine a little bit more light. And like you said, they deliberately had the mics off. The cameras were still on, thank God. Because there would have been even more cover up. But what I want to ask you guys next is, and I want to elaborate a little bit more on this. Not one doctor, not one nurse, not even one of the police officers that was out there in the infirmary did anything or stop anything to go on. So I need for you guys to elaborate, and tell me how fucked up was that.
You going E?
Well, I'm trying to think in the minds of the accused. You know, I try to consider all. Like I try to put myself in their mind state. What would make them do this? First of all, you know. So I'm going down the line, and that's why I said earlier, did he do something to a guard? You know, because think about it. If you was
See, and hold
in
on,
the
not to
game,
cut you off.
somebody
Remember
did
your train
something.
of thought, E. I'm gonna say this. He was locked up for he stabbed up his ex-girlfriend. She didn't
Okay.
die, but that's what he was locked up for. But that was some years prior to that. He already I believe, had been locked up for multiple years. So, I don't know if that was a carry on from that, but go ahead.
Okay, maybe he assaulted an officer. I don't know. I could see me retaliating in the death of a gang member or something, you know. And whether you're a police officer or correction officer, you're part of a affiliation. That's a gang, whether you want to claim it or not.
Right.
Because they take up for each other as such anyway. You know, so I'm trying to imagine him killing another guard to deserve that type of treatment. You know, what made these people snap? What made these officers treat this man unhumane?
Well, we know he
What
didn't kill
made
another officer because
them
he would have been
not
dead
care about his
immediately.
life?
Right.
Huh?
I said, well, we know he didn't kill another corrections officer because he would have been dead that day.
I mean, immediately. He
Yeah,
wouldn't have had.
immediately on
It
the
wouldn't have
spot.
been no beating. They would have took him out fast.
Yeah, they would have took him out that day. Yeah. So
I
we
mean,
know it
I
wasn't
don't I
that
don't know what transpired upon them
on that.
carrying him in that room, you
Right,
know.
right. Yeah. Well, we know it
So
wasn't him
that's what I
killing
mean.
another
Like,
officer
did he
because we
mouth
would have heard
off at
about that.
somebody?
Right. Yeah. Go ahead,
I
though, E.
mean, it still don't fit. My point being, I'm trying to understand what will make these guys just act and treat this man as such. You
Right.
know, I see number one, all officers were white, you know, and this was a black man. So I'm trying to steer away from the stereotype racist crime, you know, but we gonna go around the mulberry bush because it seemed to keep coming back to that.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
they
they
giving us
looked
no
like they
point
was
but to
taking
come to
out
that, East Keys. Go
anger.
ahead.
They looked at like the Rodney King beating.
Man, that was worse than the Rodney King beating because Rodney King survived and got millions of dollars and then went back to smoking crack. You know what I'm saying? This guy here, you did. This guy here didn't have a chance in hell.
At
And
all. He
on
was
top of that,
handcuffed. Right. At least,
right,
at
and on
least
top of
Rodney
that, he
King
was
was able to
handcuffed.
get
He
in the
couldn't
fetal
even.
position.
No, he couldn't even get a lick back.
Yeah,
He
at
couldn't
all.
even get a lick back. And I see where he going with. He's playing double advocate, and that's fine. We trying to find out what could he have done. But in my eyes, it's nothing could have done because if he had killed an officer, he'll be dead. We wouldn't
Yeah,
be even
he would have been
talking
dead
about
within
this.
seconds of killing
Yes.
another
And
officer.
if he had took one down and hurt one, that's still not enough to beat him to death on
Right,
video.
right,
They literally beat this man till he couldn't breathe again.
right.
Literally.
And
I
tried
mean,
listen tried to wake you after they murdered the
Revive
man.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, they
yeah, they
tried to
try to revive him.
revive him, pulled his clothes off,
Like
and,
shit,
and
we
tried to
fucked
make it
up.
seem like he died overnight, like some other shit had happened to him.
Like I
Right.
said, they planned this. When he was put in the infirmary, they planned this. They picked out four of the top officers that they know would beat a nigga to death. And I'm just saying it like it looked like and the way it sounded.
Yeah,
And I'm
and I'm gonna
just,
say this, East
being
Keezy.
clear on that.
Right. And in the first show, East Keezy, that you missed, we talked about this. We talked about repercussions, what needs to be done after shit like this happens going forward. It's like these cops didn't have any fear. They knew they were on tape. It's like they knew there was not going to be any consequences, like they can't be touched. You know what I mean? So we talked about solutions, what need to be done. Like I said in the first show, we're not over here trying to promote violence, but another thing that I want to talk about, Dave, that we said that we were going to elaborate and talk about with people. Our people are kind of fucked up when it comes to uh uh how we treat our own people. We'll go out and murder our people, with no problem, blow a nigga head off, but when the tables are turned, we got these officers out here, murdering, blowing our people's heads off, killing them on camera, putting their knees to their neck, shooting our little young boys in the head. No one is doing nothing. We got all these gang members out here that's running these streets. Nothing is done to these officers after this shit goes on. That's just like what's the guy that killed the young guy out in Florida? His murder is still walking. He's still
George,
walking
what,
around.
Zimmerman?
Yeah, George Zimmerman. No one has done anything to him. All them goons in Florida, and you mean to tell me he can't be touched? So let's talk a little bit about that, E Skeezy and Dave. Why aren't our thugs stepping up doing shit? They releasing the names of these officers, and these people that's doing this shit. These motherfuckers is walking around like it's cool.
Well, they'll put a price on the vigilante head. They don't want nobody taking the law into their own hands. But you said something earlier that was so profound, like those officers did what they did and looked as if they wouldn't have any consequences to face.
Right.
And we was just talking about that earlier. Well, y'all had a show, another one I missed, about taking a lie to the grave. And that's something, if they wouldn't have been on camera right there, that's something they would have took to the grave. They wouldn't have
Right.
confessed to that murder,
Facts.
but it was all on camera.
Yeah.
So but 2025, the person that's going to be running things is trying to put in place a protection order for the police that they won't have consequences for actions as such we seen.
Mm.
Yeah. See.
Officers will not be held accountable for their actions in court, whether it's a beating, a shooting. He do not want police officers standing trial for something they did to try to uphold the law.
And that's fucked up, because at the end of the day, this is the reason why they're doing what they're doing, because they already know somebody's going to protect them. So
Exactly.
they've been doing this shit for so many years, and like you said, taking the shit to the grave. They've been taking it to the grave. The difference is technology now. This shit has been happening, and it's just happening a little bit more, and it seems like it's happening a little more, but it's been happening for decades. The only difference now, we have cameras everywhere.
Right.
And this is the only reason they're getting caught. Like I said, once again, this is a game. They picked out 14 troublemaker cops that beat the hell out of guys in that system. And they've been doing it, and they love to do it. They raise their hand, me, next. You know what I'm saying? And they go in these rooms and they have a conversation. Keep them cameras off. Keep them cameras off. We'll turn them on after we're done. And then we'll figure out a way to cover it up. See, this is what they're doing, man. I think they part of the nation of the skinheads.
Well,
Hey.
let me say this. I'll agree with y'all to a certain extent. Far as with the new administration coming in. I think at some point, at some point, Trump, he's just the face of a lot of shit. He's not going to be able to write policies in that gives police immunity from just flat out murdering people like how what happened today. So, I don't think that will ever be into play. I think he'll have a lot of problems on his hand thinking that police can get away with just murdering people, without any repercussions. So I don't think that will ever go on. So we'll
I
have to
didn't
see.
think this motherfucker would get elected again.
Well, we knew that was going to happen. I knew he was going to get elected. We needed that.
I
No,
But that's
didn't
the
no,
thing.
think the
no,
motherfucker
no,
would get elected the
no.
first
That I
time.
mean, let's just keep it real. Let's just keep it real. The man is coming in there. The reason he's elected, because it's white people and it's people that's brainwashed that said, we want to take America back. And they've been setting an example for years, the way they've been beating us. They've been beating the hell out of us everywhere. All the guns are getting bought out the stores. All the bullets are getting bought out the gun stores. And who you think buying them? white folks,
Well, look,
because
hey,
they getting
I'm
ready
not
for the
disagreeing. I'm not
revolution.
disagreeing in what y'all saying
No,
about
I know you're not. No, I know you're not. But you got to remember, he's going to have a whole House and a Senate.
right.
So a lot of stuff he wants to do is going to get done, even though it's going to be hard for some things. But a lot of that shit going to be done. And
Yeah,
right
see,
now, the white.
my bad. Go ahead, Dave.
Go ahead. No,
No,
no, you
see,
go ahead.
and you got to remember a lot of stuff that he talks about during pre-election are just talking points. You know, a lot of that shit is not going to
I
come
get that.
about. You know, it's just talking points to get him elected. You know, this thing about the police having immunity on murdering citizens, that should have never fly. You know, but we'll see in
But
this
you,
once he
but you,
is elected back into office.
okay, but you remember when he got in there in 2016
Right.
and them cops was beating the hell out of niggas and he was sticking up for the cops.
Okay.
He was sticking up for them, just like the Central Park Five. He wasn't even elected and he put so much money up to get them black guys the death penalty.
See, and you'll know
And it
you know
didn't
how we're
work.
gonna find out if all that shit is gonna fly because he's gonna have to speak in the days to come. And you know, especially once they what do you call that when they elect him in, you know,
You
elect him
talking
into
about
Inauguration.
office. So
inauguration.
yeah, so he's gonna have to speak about this situation. So we'll find out, you know, because we'll have some reporters asking that same question that you guys are saying, you know. But back to that incident, man, these officers, they were straight up, they had no empathy, no sympathy for this guy. You know, it was almost like you said, Dave, like it was pre-planned. So go ahead, Dave, and elaborate on that. You know, it was almost like it was pre-planned. You know, they turned the audio off. You know, like I said, luckily the video was still
It,
going and playing. You know, other than that, like you said, East Keezy, it would have been a cover-up, take it to the grave.
Yeah. I mean, they had cameras on standby, and the crazy part about it, the camera from the officer it was coming from wasn't doing nothing.
it's
Yeah.
always like that.
Hmm.
He was standing in front of the whole thing watching, and he'll still be charged with the same thing, I guarantee.
He
Yeah.
should be because he's an accessory if you don't stick up. I
To
mean,
the
if you don't
crime.
step up and say
Exactly.
something.
There are, and it was 14 of them that was involved.
That's just like me, you, and Dane at the store, um, and we see a brutal murder, and somebody just stomp somebody out, and then everybody say them three guys was right there when it all started. They'll find some way to try to charge us because we ain't got nothing to do with it and we don't want to say nothing. But by this guy being a police officer and he's part of that clan, they're going to charge him because he didn't say nothing.
Yeah, he had
He
Nah,
sat there.
I'll
all
lawyer up out
parties,
of that. I'll
all part.
lawyer up out of that.
Yeah.
Your Honor, did you see what they did to him? I didn't want them to flip the
You'll
script
turn
on
side.
me.
You'll switch sides.
You know, but I listen. I think all parties involved in that situation, even and they're going to even go back to the nurses and the doctors that was
They
actually
should
in that.
lock their ass up too.
Yeah, that was getting paid at that time. That was in there, you know, because they covered all that shit up, you know. And this happened back in December the 7th, I believe, you know, and it was so fucked up. And what had happened to them, they had to release the video of what happened to the family, you know. So I want to just go back and talk about, you know, how we're so against each other, how we'll go out and murder each other, you know. But situations when like this happen, we don't stand up and do anything to the murderers that go out and do this shit to our peoples.
You know what's funny about that? That you would say that. E, we was talking earlier, and like I was saying, we'll be so quick to pull out the AK or the AR-15 on our own. We'll be
Yeah,
so quick to
yeah,
run up in one of our own house because they did something to us. But they don't go out in these white areas and fuck with them though.
do none of
They
that.
don't do that, and I
Yeah.
wonder why. You know, now these cops have been fired. They shouldn't be allowed to walk the street because they don't work for the police no more.
Exactly. See, and we talked about this earlier. You know, I think they do it for a reason. You know, so they won't. You know, so they can be fired and charges can be brought upon them, so they won't have to apply immunity no more. And then also, I think they do that so they can release them to the public. They're not police officers no more. They're just regular. At this point, they're regular citizens. And my thing is, East Keezy, all these so-called thugs we got walking around the country, walking around New York, walking around Florida. Don't nobody do nothing to these guys.
Hey, they get their punishment. We don't always get a chance to see it, but
We
they
never
always
see
reap
it.
what they sow.
When have we seen
Yeah,
any
I
of
mean,
these
but they
motherfuckers get their punishments?
that don't mean they don't get it. They could have a slow death, or they could be suffering mentally, anything.
Nevers
But
and
I
busting.
guarantee you, they get their punishment. You know,
Nevers and busting.
it always look like the unjust is reigning, but it's only for a period. And when they time run out, they always get their punishments. Like that credit card that's in your name, you could buy whatever you want with it, but you're gonna have to pay that bill. So do
I'm
what you could afford.
Go ahead,
And
Dave.
they did
talk that
something
talk.
they thought they was gonna get away with. And right there, that's the beginning of their punishment. They gotta go to their communities, they gotta stand court cases, they gotta dress up every day. People gonna know who they are. And I want to stand corrected on something we've been saying, but I believe these were correction officers, not police
I
officers.
mean,
Even though the
correction
police
officers are
officers do the
police
same
officers, though.
thing,
They're, I mean, it's you can't take
They police officers are within the system.
exactly. So they're
okay,
officers. They have a
okay,
But they're
badge and a
not
gun.
they're not
You know,
officers on the street
yeah, they're not
patrolling the
officers
street,
on the street. They're officers
but they are
patrolling the
officers who
convicts and
they're supposed to
the
protect you in
inmates.
the
But
prison
yeah, but
and
they're
keep things under
officers.
control.
Yeah. But yeah, and I just want to bring that out, East Keezy, because we got so many tough guys walking around here, that's quick to kill one of our peoples, but does nothing to these guys, after seeing, our guys, our people being murdered, on TV. So I just thought, we just needed to bring that a little bit more attention to that. We hear about,
so let's go vice versa. What
go
if
ahead.
this was six black inmates
Right,
and they trapped off a guard like that, and they had him restrained, and they were beating him like they beat that guy.
right.
Now, these guys are already in jail doing time. So what happens to them? You know, uh, how would the public feel towards them? The same way we feel towards those officers.
Okay.
I think the white community, that's when they start speaking.
Right,
Oh, it was a good old boy. Oh, he was a good guy. But see,
right.
why isn't the white public coming out now? Why aren't they coming out saying that could be my son and they're being beaten to death?
Yeah,
See, that's the problem. They ain't coming out. You know what we need? We need another person like Coleman A. Young. Because when Nevis and Butson thought they can do that to Malice and Green and get away with it,
right.
they punished them. Yeah, they
Fuck
didn't get a
yeah.
whole lot of time, but guess what happened? They got sick in prison, and as soon as they got out, they died.
Yeah.
You know what? I
Go
was
ahead,
just
Eastkey.
thinking because sometimes it goes far beyond we know, and it's more than meets the eye. What if this was his karma? We don't know. We just got to see it. A lot of seeds we plant, we don't know how they gonna come back.
Yeah,
And we don't know
but
how he was out here.
I can agree to disagree with you on that. Karma doesn't come back in the form of how he got murdered that way. Especially if you believe in a God and it's a God, I don't think he would plan for his karma to be beaten, on camera like that for his family to see.
I don't know per se.
Because I don't think he murdered nobody. I don't think he beat nobody to death.
That's the thing. We don't think as well as we don't know.
Well,
I'm
I mean,
just saying we could
I
just
think
be
we do know a
witnessing
little
his
bit about
karma.
his background because they brought a little bit back out. They had he was convicted and locked up not for murder for domestic violence. He had
Well,
stabbed up his girlfriend, so it wasn't
Right.
so
for
that's
Those
murder.
were
so
those were his charges. Okay.
Yeah, no,
Now
that's what
we
right.
he was
just
locked
talked
up for.
about
He'd been locked up for for multiple years for that.
right, I get it. Okay, those were his
That's the murder,
charges.
felonious
That's
assault
where
through great
that's what
bodily harm.
landed
That's the
him
murder.
Right.
there. But that's what he got caught for. We don't know what this guy got away with. Now
I got you.
I'm not taking up for these cops. Don't get me wrong. Listen to what I'm saying and hear with your heart.
Go ahead. Let me
We
hear you.
don't know what caught up with him. You
Right.
see what I mean? Like he could have killed 40 people, and then that caught up with him right there that day. I'm not saying he did kill 40 people. I'm
Right.
not justifying what the officers did. It was wrong.
Right.
But the people to bring you your karma, you may not even know, and they don't even know what they doing. Is your punishment for what you done.
No,
It might not make sense.
I get what you're trying to say, East Keys. You said it may be a karma, some shit that he may have done that we don't know about, But
My grandma used to always say, "You never get whooped for nothing. If you got whooped and you didn't do what they whooping you for right there that day, you still getting whooped for something you thought you got away with 2 weeks ago."
well, let me say
But you
something to
know
you
what,
about that. Like if we all get that type of karma, I mean, if karma comes
well,
back like that, if he didn't murder nobody, when it comes back like that, then
um,
you can. That's another story. But I still
that,
don't.
that
No matter
no,
what he
no,
did, I
no,
still don't think that
no.
he
You know
deserves to
what?
be.
It really ain't another
Whether
story.
he murdered somebody in his
At the
past or
at,
not. That gave them
right,
officers no
because
right to
it
do what they did. Go ahead, Dave.
right. Put it like this. Put it like this. I hear what he's saying. I hear what you saying. At the end of the day, I don't care what he did. He has been punished for what he did. He got put in jail for maybe 10, 15 years, whatever they gave him. He has been punished for his wrong and his crime. Now, is it something he might have got away with? Well, let's flip it again. How many of them officers then killed more blacks in that
Exactly.
jail that
You
we
know,
don't know
Yeah,
about?
because kind of doing it how you doing the East Keys is
Where's
kind of
their
kind of
karma?
turning the taking it away from what they did to him. Even if he
Right. Where's
maybe
their
he had did
karma?
that, but it's still taking the light off of what he did and what they did.
He was punished for his wrong. He got put in prison for it. And
Yeah,
whatever happened to him while he was in prison happened to him.
right.
But these officers, how many black men have they tortured and beaten and killed inside that
That
prison
prison,
system and got
and we
away
can,
with it?
and it's been multiple, and we all know that, so yeah, so I mean, it just was a sad situation, but like I said, they've already fired 14 of them, so I'm quite sure it's going to be charges coming, in weeks and days to come.
Okay, let me ask a question.
Go ahead, Easy.
Would we be this much in an uproar? Actually, we wasn't. Didn't nobody protest? Nobody said nothing when they killed Jeffrey Dahmer.
What do you mean?
Don't everybody speak at once. But if we
No, I'm
known
speaking.
this
You got to
man
you
to
got to
be a
you got to
child
elaborate on what you mean
molester,
by that, Easy. Tell me what you
Right.
mean.
I'm out to. If we knew this man was locked up for killing 40 people, raping 30 kids, and then we saw that type of punishment, we'd be like, oh, it caught up with him. That's what the hell he get. You know what I mean? That's
I
the type
might
of people we are.
I
But
might
since
say it
we
caught
don't
up.
know, we still got to find out what triggered these men. They didn't just pick this man up,
But
let's get him. He
but
had to be
see,
running his mouth. He had to be doing something.
but
Now,
see,
I don't want to seem like I'm taking up for the
no,
officers
I
because
know
I'm
you're not
not. What
taking
they
See, but
up.
did was wrong.
that's what it does though when you do that. Whether
But
you
you
know
don't
it or
You're
not,
provoke
that's
playing
what it
you
do.
devil's
don't provoke
advocate.
these people to anger. If you know they got this type of power, they could take you in this room. So he mouthing off? I don't know. I'm not taking up for the officers.
Yeah.
But
No, I
he
get what you're
got
saying.
himself in a situation.
Right.
Trust me, he didn't just get randomly picked. This wasn't no, hey, good morning, officers. How you doing? Hey, how your wife doing? No, don't worry about my wife. Matter of fact, come here. No, this was a, oh, fuck you. I'll fuck your wife or fuck you.
Yeah.
And,
See,
oh,
but
you
at the
want to
end of the
run your
day, no
mouth?
matter whatever he did that he could have did that we don't know about, he should have been judged by a judge and jury with that.
You
Exactly. See,
absolutely
it's
right. I
see,
agree 100%.
see,
But
it,
we
it's
wanna.
irrelevant. It's irrelevant once again what he did.
Right.
See, because like I
Exactly. That's a
said,
whole nother
he's
story.
in jail. The reason he was
You
in
wouldn't want to
jail.
know what triggered these men.
No, I mean I want to know, but it ain't gonna matter because here's the thing, E. If he
It
wouldn't have
will.
been
Seven
charged,
brothers and sisters. If one of my brothers got whooped from my daddy, I want to know, what did you do?
I mean,
Because I don't
I
want to
agree
get
with that.
whooped like you just
I
got
want to
whooped.
know. I want to know, but it's not going to matter what happened, the way what they did to him. See,
Hell
Right.
because
no. No
the
matter
problem I
what he
have
did,
with the
that shit
whole
they
thing,
did, it don't deserve
right? The
you.
problem I have with the whole thing is this guy was prosecuted and put in jail. Now, if he had got away with it, he wouldn't even been in jail for this to happen to him. He probably would have did something in the streets and somebody killed him. But
Yeah,
he got
facts.
punished and went to prison. And you should be able to go to prison. If I kill somebody cold blooded right now and they give me 30 motherfucking years, and I go to jail for 30 years,
And
that
you
don't
do
mean it's
your
gonna be
time.
easy in there. But I should be able to go to jail and do my damn time if they didn't give me the death penalty without worried about some correction officers that don't like my black ass and want
I'm
to
gonna be
kill me.
100. Now I'm gonna be 100. Not if you stabbed and killed my sister. If I'm a correctional officer, and or I know somebody that work at another prison, when I find out where you at, this is what's gonna trigger me. That's all I'm saying. I want to
No,
know
I know.
what
I feel that.
happened, and
I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean
just being
that's
100. Now
respectable.
we looking at it from uh audience point of view, but to be a part of it, if you walk in that room and you like, come on, let's go. You made up your mind and you think what he did or what we going in here for is worth it. So maybe this was, oh, this the man that killed your sister, he in here, and we've been rocking with each other for years. I'ma go in there with you, Big Dave. This the one that killed your sister. Yeah, we
Yeah,
finna fuck him up.
and I get that, but the only thing that messes that whole thing up, we keep repeatedly seeing white people of authority punish us. If it ain't the fucking judge giving us 100 years, if it ain't the prosecutor and them trumping on giving us Trump charges on top of Trump charges, if it ain't us innocently being accused of something we didn't do, you know how many of us die in the death penalty? The reason I don't like that, and there's so many of us that's innocent and we get murdered in the death penalty because they don't even have a fact. They like, fuck it, get rid of his ass.
Right.
So he went to jail for whatever he went to jail for. Okay, I feel you on that. If that's my sister or whatever, I probably wouldn't give a fuck what happened to him. But when I see white officers of the law beating a man that was that was already handcuffed, that wasn't no threat, I have a problem with it because we seen it too much. And then we seen it so much, it's becoming normal.
And I want to
Listen,
say this before I get forget. He's Keezy, and to get back on what you were saying, if he had did some karma, okay, so that means their karma is getting ready to come. You see what I'm saying? That's see when you use stuff like that, it's going to be a non-going situation because that means their karma is getting ready to come in a
right,
situation like that where
right.
I was talking about where they names need to be released. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
These street thugs that we got running out here on the streets, they need to be released to the streets. You know what I mean? So yeah, using your point of view, yeah, that's what needs to happen to them. Then if that's him getting his karma back, then if they're going to get their karma back in that way, I'm cool with that.
Right. Okay. Now, I want to say this. When I was young, we used to take the 9-volt battery and we'll put it on our tongue. You ever did that before?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it shock you a little bit.
I just did that last week to make sure one of
You
my
see what I'm
batteries
saying? Right. Okay,
was
so you knew it
completely
was something
dead.
there. It had a little bite to it. Okay, so to know something with a little more voltage, you wouldn't do that with no stun gun, you know what I mean? Or no
No.
taser, but you'll do it with a 9-volt battery, We'll talk back to our parents, we'll talk back to our teachers, and then we take that same attitude and think the cop with a gun on his hip and a billy club and a taser gonna take that same mouth, that same. You see what I'm saying? Now we could avoid some things. We could put ourselves in situations as well. Now I'm 48 years old. I done been locked up. I done entangled with the police. I done been pulled over. Not one time have I disrespected an officer, and not one time have an officer put his hands on me or threatened me or talked to me crazy. I know how to
Maybe you were
talk to
lucky.
them when they do stop me. You can't provoke people with power to anger. If you got a gun and you roll up on the spot and somebody mouthing off at you, you gonna do something to prove to everybody else you can't talk to me like that.
I mean,
Shut
Okay,
up.
now you saying
that's a fact.
that to
That's
say
a
what though,
fact.
East Keezy?
I'm saying we put ourselves in these positions. This man didn't just get this punishment for nothing now.
That day
I
he
don't
did.
believe
When they
that.
listen,
I
when
don't
they
believe that.
carried him
E.
in there handcuffed up, you know what I mean. It had to be prior, you know. But that listen from what we saw, he did nothing to die in that room. He didn't fight back.
Right,
He was handcuffed. So,
right.
Now
you
I
know,
can
there's
understand.
nothing that you can say about that. Now, whatever he did prior
Right.
to that,
No.
you
I
see what
can
I'm saying?
understand if
He
he
should have been
spit on
murdered.
one of them.
That's whatever you talking about that he could have did prior to that, or whoever he
Yeah.
murdered. That shit should have been handled back then or right then and there. You know what I mean?
That's
Just like
right.
and that was it. You know, but what he did right then and there, he didn't do anything back. You know, he
I
was
mean,
Well, that
I don't know. We don't know what led him to that moment. Is what
Exactly.
I'm saying.
So we can't say that
and it should
story.
have
We
been
don't know
dealt
what
with
happened.
right
You know, but
then.
we do know what happened when they had him in that room. They had him handcuffed to
Okay,
that bed and they murdered
that's
him.
why I said you can't put yourself in that position. An hour or two from that video that we watched, he could have been in his cell just chilling. I know they didn't just come by walking, doing their
Well,
count, and said him right there.
maybe
Let's take
it
him.
was something. Maybe it was something he did. But like Dane said,
See, but you
maybe they
still
already
forget
beat the
by you
hell.
saying
Listen,
go ahead, E, go
maybe
ahead,
they already
D.
beat the
My
hell
bad.
out of him. Maybe they beat the hell out of him, then cuffed him and took him to the infirmary because they already fucked him up. But once they got him to the infirmary, they wasn't done. Now let's go back. Let's piggyback on something you said, E. You said you respect the officers. Not one time you never been handled wrong by them or disrespected by them because you treat them the way they should be treated because they're authority of power.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go back on these guys that was in the car and they got pulled over by officers. The officers didn't see a gun and they just blew their fucking brains out. They didn't talk back. We've seen a video when the guy was acting real nice. And where was this? Wisconsin? The guy was with his girlfriend. The baby was in the back seat. He was like, "Yes, officer. Yes, officer. Yes, officer. My wallet's in the glove, officer. Do you mind if I go for it, officer? Gun, gun, boom. He ain't had shit. And he was nice as hell. So that shit sometimes really don't matter because you might have been lucky and ran into some cops that just wasn't looking for that problem with you. But there's a lot of us that's not lucky. You always get one asshole that want to go the extra mile. Just one.
And
No,
that's why you agree quickly with the adversary. I mean, if you want to get out of there and you ain't got time for all that, then let the man feel like he the
But
man.
some of us haven't made it though, E. That's what I'm saying. Some of us have been murdered by doing what you did, by following them, following command, not talking back, doing with the officer, and still end up dying. Remember
see,
the guy they
and
handcuffed?
yet, and still, this conversation that we having about that, we still really talking about some what if. You see what I'm saying? Because we don't know what we did, but
Right,
we know what happened in that room. So I won't even allow that, you know, because now we talking about some shit that we don't even know what he could have done. You see what I'm saying? We know what
right.
happened in
It
that
don't
room.
matter
We know
what he
them
done.
officers murdered him. You know, so whatever he may have done in the past, you know, that shit really is irrelevant to the conversation, you know, right now. You know,
Irrelevant.
because no matter what he did. You see what I'm saying? He should have done his time. He should have been caught. They was caught. You know, they was fired and what's getting ready to come to them is getting ready to happen. You know what I mean? And I understand what you're talking about, E. You talking about karma, you know, but that's still taken away, you know, and that's taken away from the viewers who's watching this, you know, from what them police officers did.
No, in the beginning of my statement, I stated how they were wrong, but I
Right.
still would like to know what provoked these motherfuckers to anger, to
Right.
that
No,
type of
I
I
anger,
got
agree.
it.
We
to beat
all
a man to death
yeah, we all want
while
to know.
he
We want to
handcuffed,
know.
not showing a
I
threat.
think
Yeah, see,
they're a
so
bunch of
you know,
How
so
long?
cowards.
yeah,
Because he
just
was eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
yeah, no, we all
I
would want to
think
know,
they
but
just
see, would that still change your mind on what you think his karma would have okay, what if he didn't do nothing wrong? What if it comes to find out that he just said some smart shit? You see what I'm saying? So that basically we was just arguing about a conversation, that took away from what they did. You see what I'm saying? So really,
No,
that's
not
what that's
not not
doing.
argument. Never.
No, I mean,
You
well, not
always got to show
argument. We
more
debate.
than one point.
We debating about what he did. That's irrelevant to him being murdered by the corrections officer.
Well, like
Okay,
we
so
said
let
in
me
the beginning.
retract so I don't confuse nobody. What these men did in that room were 100% wrong. No
Okay.
excuse for
Right.
what they did.
Right.
What they did, they will be and should be punished for. I
Right.
agree 100%. If I could execute them myself, I would.
Right.
Now, I would like to know what led to this beating. The
Right.
man was not in his cell making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. My thing is to prevent all we can. Like Big Dave said, yeah, some cops just out here, they assholes. They want to show you who's boss, and they will overstep their boundaries, thinking they're above the law. But it's a way you could talk to these guys where they don't feel like you trying to flex. You could get a good citizen that know how to talk proper, and once you start telling the cop, I know the law, you can't do this to me. Yeah, they feeling threatened now. It's just certain ways you go
Skeezy,
about it.
you know how many videos I can go pull up with niggas talking to cops, professional,
Right.
with all the respect in the world, and they still get their
Yeah, and
motherfucking head
still
blown
got
off?
shot. That's what I was saying. I was
Yeah.
getting to that.
Yeah.
Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
saying you could
Like the
do that
girl.
and you still run into cops that don't care.
Right.
And
But
that's what
for
I'm
the
saying.
most part
So
of it, all right, pretend you a cop. Okay. Now, how would you handle somebody in the hood mouthing off at you if we gonna keep it
I
100
might, I
today?
might, I might rough him up a little
All
bit, but
right.
I ain't gonna
Yeah.
I ain't gonna kill him.
But what if one punch where you rough them up, it knock them
I
out and
still ain't
send
gonna
them to
kill
a
him.
coma and it caught on your body cam? You wasn't trying to kill him. Yeah, you wanted to rough him up, but now it's on camera.
But see what they showing. I like once again, E. I feel what you're saying, and I know you playing devil's advocate.
Right.
But see, on this one, we can't play devil's advocate
And
because at the end of the day, this guy was brought to the infirmary. Now we don't know what happened outside the infirmary before they got him in there with them cuffs.
right.
Because when
So
they
all
got
y'all
them
doing
cuffs
is
on him, they
agreeing with
might
me
have.
right there when y'all say that, because I'm saying the same thing. I don't know
Okay,
what
no, I'm just
happened.
saying when they got him out there, they might have roughed him up, fucked him up, put the cuffs on and said get his ass in the infirmary because then check him out. Then when
Yeah,
they
do
got him
that.
in there, they probably felt like, shit, ain't nobody in here. We ain't got our cameras on. Fuck him. Beat the fuck out that
Yeah, if he
motherfucker.
was talking shit, he did some shit, beat his ass and all that, but
And
he,
and and
he
that
didn't
they
deserve to
couldn't have
die.
been trying to kill him, but one person out of the four people that was hitting him, I don't know how hard Tom was hitting him. I know I was giving him some good shots, but what's the name hit him in the head like he wanted to hurt him. And that could we don't if you get shot by 5 different guns, we'll never know which bullet killed you.
Yeah, see, but the thing
So they
is,
could have just
the
been
thing
roughing
is,
them up.
but the thing is with the law, if all five of y'all was there, it don't matter who shot the gun, y'all all going down for that same murder.
Right. But
And
what
that's
if
what's
I
gonna happen with them
when we
officers.
all shot?
No matter if you hit them in the leg and somebody hit them in the head that killed them, you still hit them and you going to jail for that same murder. That's how they do
And
that.
see, and you know what makes this real bad? Like you said, it could be one or two, and one hit him harder than the other. It was
Right.
14 of them.
Right.
It was 14 of them. Now, out of the 14, how many stumped him? How many hit him? How many choked him? How many pulled him by the collar knowing he couldn't breathe?
Yeah,
Right.
and more than likely when they go back and do the look at the tape and redo it, it's probably gonna be the motherfucker that was picking him up by the throat that did it twice. You know what I mean? But all of them deserve to be fired and be charged with murder. So it really don't matter if a motherfucker just put the handcuffs on him. You was involved.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I'm trying to say. I get what you doing. I get what you understand. We don't know. We would like to know what he did before then, but it doesn't matter what he did before then because at the end of the day, he died, because he didn't, listen, we know this for sure. He didn't kill
Would
nobody.
it
He
would it
was locked
matter
up
if
for
he was
murder.
on death row?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't on death row, or he wasn't locked up for murder because that would have been out. So
Well,
that's
I'm
all
gonna
I'm
tell
trying
you
to say.
what.
So when you say that, that
I'm gonna
takes
tell
away
you
from
what.
their murder.
When we find out what caused it, which it shouldn't have been no reason for
Well, they already know.
14.
They said he died by asphyxiation. So that means they choked his ass
No,
out.
I'm talking about when we find out what happened, the reason he even was brought to the infirmary.
Oh, okay,
When we
yeah.
find out, guess what we gonna be saying? We knew it. The motherfuckers. That's what we're gonna be hearing
Yeah.
because them motherfuckers is up to no good. And I bet you any kind of money they done did this more than once. And that's why them people said, get their ass out of here. We don't want an uproar. Everybody gonna get in trouble behind this. Get rid of them motherfuckers now.
Listen, and see, and to go back to what he said, unless he killed the police officer prior to what we saw, you see what I'm saying?
The rest of it ain't gonna matter.
Right, exactly. You see what I'm saying? So that's all I was trying to say. So by saying that, just pretty much just give a black eye on what they,
I
you
can't
know,
wait till the rest of the details come
yeah, I
out
want to hear
because
it.
it's gonna be what I believe.
Yeah.
Them motherfuckers wanted his ass.
No, they wanted them dead. You know, they all took turns on punching his. Listen, they said that the sergeant was even in there whooping his ass, and he's the one who's
And
leading all them motherfuckers.
I want to know what they were saying. I want the audio to come out because I know they was calling him all kinds of son of a bitches
Man,
and
he was probably getting
motherfuckers.
called all type of niggas, and you ain't shit. Your mama ain't shit. You know. So, but and I want to elaborate a little bit more on now that they've been fired. Now that they walk in the streets. Now that they regular citizens. Do you think, Big Dave, that some hands need to be laid on them?
I believe somebody should beat the hell out of them.
Yeah, that's what. Hey,
I
eye
believe
for an
when
eye.
if they get caught at a store hanging out and talking to a buddy, somebody should be whooping on his ass.
Yeah,
All right, now
because
what if we catch they karma on tape and there's 14 guys? How will we feel then?
We used to that
We'll
because
we'll
they
be like,
always
that's
do
what the fuck
something to
they get,
us,
right?
huh?
We'll be like, that's what the fuck he get, right?
see, but
Yup.
we know that's not gonna happen though. See, so right now we just like when you say that, and like when you were saying that earlier, we going on what woulda coulda shouldas. We know for a
No,
And
fact
see,
he
but
was
ain't
murdered.
nobody gonna care what happens to that or one or two of them
Yeah, see,
officers
that's all
if
that's
they
pretty
got
much
whooped
woulda
by a
coulda
mob of
shoulda.
guys.
But
They gonna
that
say
man
that's
that
what he
man lost
get.
his life. None of them officers lost their life yet.
how you think the people of that girl family feel about the incident? You think they feel sorry for this dude?
They
I,
might, they might
see,
not.
I guarantee
The
you.
one that he
Listen, that girl
stabbed,
didn't. That girl didn't. She didn't die. She's
She
still
coulda.
alive. She's still
I
She
mean,
alive.
she
coulda.
could, you know what? She could have died. Maybe her family would be the only ones that don't give a damn about him. But everybody else in the world that's seen this,
Yeah.
they looking at what happens over and over.
See,
And
because let
you
me
know
say,
what? This has been happening in the prison system for a long time.
yeah, and let me say this: if she would have died, then it would have been a case closed. We'd have been like, he deserved that shit. Like what you saying, if we would have known that he murdered somebody and done something like that, there's
Right.
no even conversation about that. But we can't
No,
prove that, so therefore,
she
that what you
survived.
saying, that shit is irrelevant. It makes
Right.
it just really makes no sense. It's just a irrelevant argument.
It's only a question raised
No,
because,
no, I
like you
get, no,
say,
I
we
get it, I
don't
get
know.
it. But what I'm saying is, people like, hold on, that nigga was murdered. So you got to go back and say,
If
and I
he
get it.
stabbed my
It could,
sister, I
it could have
wouldn't
been his
care.
karma. So if we proved that he had killed the police officer or anybody, then we wouldn't even be arguing about that.
What makes this so bad, E, is because we see it too much, man. This guy had handcuffs on the same shit they did to Floyd. He had handcuffs on,
Y'all,
and they
y'all
put
talking to
leaves
me
in
like
his
I'm
neck.
taking up for these
No, but I'm
motherfuckers.
saying, look,
My
no, I know
thing
you're not
is,
taking. No, I know you're
my
not
thing
taking up
is,
for him. You just want us
what
to look
triggered
at
it?
the
You said it
other.
was 14 people involved.
They
Yeah,
fired
you just
14
want
All
us
right,
to
so
look
officers.
there's
at the other
14
side.
people who put their pension on the line, their jobs and their careers.
But you
Okay, if
know
you
what?
one of them 14 and you see we finna take this motherfucker in the room, you
Hey,
ain't gonna say what he do?
Listen,
They didn't stop none of
every
no
correction
officer stopped
officer,
none of them.
every correction officer, every police officer, anybody that's an authority of the law, the first thing should happen to them when they brought up on charges is they lose their pension when they found guilty
Right.
automatically.
So they
But guess
risked
what
that.
happens?
This
These
had to be a
motherfuckers get
They risked everything over a
This
beating that
had to
turned
be a
into a
reason,
murder.
is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I
Now,
mean,
what they did was wrong. I keep saying that. But my thing is, you don't get this, you don't even get brought to this room unless you did or said something.
but
See, so but what
remember
I'm
what
saying,
He
Dane
might have
said.
seen something
see,
to where it could have fried all them, and then
But
they handled them right there.
remember what Dane said earlier. That should have been dealt with right then and there before they
yeah,
even got to the
because we can argue
infirmary.
because that'll be a debate all night. You see what I'm saying? It'll be a nonstop debate, because we'll never know what he did. We know what they did though. You see what I'm
We
saying?
know
Because we'll be
exactly
sitting
what they
here,
did.
saying, I mean, because we can say that about any crime or anything that happens. You see what I'm saying? Okay, well, what did he do? We would like to know what he did before he murdered that motherfucker. You see what I'm saying? So that can go with anything in life. You see what I'm saying? So, and that's all I was saying. And I understand what you're trying to say. It could be his instant karma, and it could be, but we don't know. So we would like to know, but until we know that, we know that these motherfuckers just murdered this man.
Right.
And that's all I was trying to
And that's
say.
exactly what we know.
Yeah.
And so, but like
Now
I
if it
said,
come back to find out that this motherfucker murdered 1,000 motherfuckers, then so be it. Off with the man. But until then, that could have been you. You see what I'm saying? And I will want the same thing, motherfuckers riding for
exactly.
me or you or any one of our loved ones.
Because you know what? E and Dane, we can't choose what happened with our friends. If one of y'all go out and do some dumb shit and hurt somebody really bad, I'm not gonna hate you. I'm gonna say, damn, Dane fucked up this time, or he fucked up this time, man. I hope they don't give him all day for it. We gonna forgive you because we know you.
Yeah.
We gonna wonder why you did it, but we not gonna say fuck you.
You
We
know,
ain't gonna say fuck you. And then we turn around and look into the news while Dana is in jail and this shit happened. And we know you did some shit before that was dumb that ended up putting you in jail, but we know that really ain't you because we've been knowing you that long. And then we see 14 officers fuck E up or fuck Dane up till they die. We're gonna be furious.
yeah,
Right. As you should
you not
be.
even gonna worry about what I did or what you did, prior to
No,
them
we're gonna be
murdering you. You
furious.
just gonna be looking at what the fuck just happened. So
Like, what the fuck?
but yeah, man, I need for you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It was definitely a fucked up situation. A young man lost his life. Let us know what you think about this situation. Was it instant karma for him? Did he deserve to die? For some shit that he may have done in the past. We know he stabbed up his girlfriend. Let us know. We sitting here debating about that part. We want you guys to tell us. Give us your opinion. Let us know. Or do you think that the police was fucked up, it was wrong, and they deserve instant karma? Whatever deserve, they deserve whatever they got coming to them. So I don't have anything else to add to this. Big Dave, if you got something else to add to it, go ahead and add to the show. We'll go from there.
All I can say is I hope these guys get 100 years of peace in jail, if not the death penalty. And I don't believe in the death penalty. I just think we have to make an example of these officers and make them understand it's real consequences with their actions.
Yeah, 100. East Skeezy, give us the last word.
I just want to say, last, wasn't taken up for none of their actions. They was wrong. But let's take color out the situation. Let's take white, black, Chinese out of it. It's spiritual wickedness in this world. You either evil or hateful, or you loving and caring. And those were the actions of somebody that was just pure evil. Even if it was a part of my shift, I would excuse myself if I didn't want to be brought up on these charges. So
Right.
everybody in the room should be facing charges that watch, had anything to do with it. But it's always been a war against good and bad. spiritual wickedness and this flesh we dealing with. Some jump on you. We was just talking about that. Anger getting the best of your emotions. And whatever, this could have been one officer that got everybody riled up and then they did something to this man. We don't know. So we can't go by speculations like we were saying. We only could go by what we were seeing. But it's always something in the dark, under the rock, that you don't know what led to this point or came to this halt. You
Right.
know, we just judging what we saw, and what we saw was wrong. Nobody should be treated like that. You know, we should have let the courts handle it. Even if he assaulted another officer, he should have
Right.
got more time on his sentence or something in that nature. But to say anything an inmate do, if that's why I was trying to find out what did he do. So you telling me if another inmate do this, they gonna be brought to this room and treated the same way? You
Yeah.
know, they gonna be beat to death for what this man did, and it probably didn't get back to the rest of the inmates what he did, you know. So if they said something about the captain's hairpiece that got him brought to that room, you want to let everybody else know, hey, don't talk about Captain Hairpiece. You know, it's some bullshit, but they gonna take you to that room. You know, I would try to keep everybody out that room.
Right. See,
So
well, this
that
what
was only to protect others so
right.
they don't get that treatment.
Right. Well,
We not gonna win this war we fighting. It's
right.
like the war on drugs. You're not gonna win that war. Drugs gonna win.
Right.
Evil is gonna prevail. You're not gonna see their punishment. It always look like they prospering or we can't win. That's why it's been happening for so long. Do you think we'll ever be on top where we controlling and telling them what to do and they're feeling like we're inferior? No. So you got to find a way to deal with it. When you got somebody on your job that you know is just hateful and evil, but you can't just quit your job, you got to find how to work around them. Bottom line, you're not going to let them stop your life. You're not going to let them stop your money. We could protest, we could march, but we not gonna beat these powers. We just so happen to start capturing all of this because of social media and these cell phones, and they start putting body cams on cops. But this been happening way before. I'm talking Keystone cops. We been getting Billy clubbed and everything, you know. So my thing is, since you can't stop evil from being evil, what you do is bring awareness to people that when they do see this type of evil, they know how to talk to them. They know how to make them feel like, okay, you the man, you know, like Smokey say on Friday. Yeah, he be like, shut up. I'll be quiet. But when you leave, I'll be right back talking. Yeah, why you gonna keep talking around Debo when you know he might knock you out? That's all I'm saying. You don't want to provoke these type of people to anger. If
Okay.
you could
Well.
do something to stay alive, then you do that because they already gonna be ignorant on their own. You don't need to give them a reason. That's
uh,
all I'm saying.
All right, and I'm gonna get my last word. Now, when you say evil versus just evil, pure, look, they were pure evil. It looked like there was nothing that he could say that kind to these guys. You know, because I'm quite sure he said everything kind. You know, in that room when they was sitting there murdering him. No matter what he did, until we find out what he did, that's still to me. I don't think it deserves for him to be murdered. You know what I mean? So right there, that evil, that was a wicked evil. And I don't think there was nothing that he could have said or even talked kind to them or did whatever, yes, sir, or this, sir.
Not
I don't
at
think,
that point. You know how somebody retract you after you done already got turned up. Yeah, it could be too late for apologies. I done drove over to your house. You was yapping all that shit on Facebook. Now
yeah.
I'm at your house. You talking about sorry? No, it's too late for all of that. I done
Hey,
got turned
hey,
up all the way here.
Yeah, see,
he could whatever he did before he got to the infirmary, he could have been trying to when they was putting the cuss on him, look, man, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. And then they got him in that infirmary and said, I don't give a damn. We finna
Yeah,
beat
are you
the
right?
fuck out of him.
Absolutely.
And
yeah,
that's what changed the whole game. Once they got him in there, it doesn't matter what happened outside, what he did, and who he did it to. Once they got him in that infirmary and they changed into dirty, devilish people. That's what set this conversation off.
Yeah,
And that's a fact, and that's real talk.
listen, and listen, I'm gonna go ahead and end it on this in a second. It was so fucked up that we did a show already on this earlier, Dave. Easkeezy missed it. I watched the video again. It was just so appalling to me that I wanted to do another show, on this. I'm glad they brought these guys to. I'm glad they fired them. Hopefully next, they're going to be bringing charges upon these guys, and then, maybe they'll get a little street justice. Now meaning that they fired them. But like I said, it's been another good show. It's been. I want to thank you again. Matter of fact, Dave, let everybody know what you got going on and where they can reach you.
All right, it's Big Dave, Real Talk with Big Dave. You can get me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Just punch in Real Talk. That's one whole word with WIT, Big Dave. Facebook, Big Dave Crawford. I'm a podcaster. I've been doing this for a little while now. I'm new to the game. I'm starting to pick up a little steam, just a little bit here and there. And anybody want to get in touch with me or do a show with me or got anything interesting, they can send me and add to the show and make it better. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe and like it when y'all go on it. And you can reach me on my email, D as in Dave, Cross, CRAW, number one, boy, number two, at gmail.com.
Okay, like I said again, Dave, I want to thank you for coming on the show again. It's been a good one, conversation with you. You know what I mean? I don't have anything else to add. East Keys, go ahead and close us out.
I believe we done said it all. Treat people right, sow the seeds you want to grow, and watch out for the man. 2025, prepare yourself. I don't know if it's for better or worse, but you
Hopefully
see
for
something,
better.
say something. Stop videoing shit. If you see something, help a motherfucker out. You could save a life. Put the phone down.
Right.
Let somebody else get the views. Help. Save somebody.
There we go. All right, so it's been another one. It's your boy Dame D.
And your boy Skeezy.
We are out.
Peace.
Peace.
Holla.